My parents branded me a selfish, miserly son and kicked me out of our family dinner after I declared they wouldn't see another cent from me. My mother brushed it off, but the real shock hit after I left. I'm Michael, 28, working in finance, and if you'd told me a year ago that my own parents would swindle me out of thousands, lie about it, and then call me greedy for demanding repayment, I'd have thought you were crazy. Yet here we are. I've always been the dependable one in our family, not because I had to be, but because that's just who I am. Growing up, I was the steady kid. While others were out causing chaos or rebelling, I stayed focused. I excelled in school, secured a solid job after college, and never gave my parents any headaches. My younger sister, Natalie, 25, was the opposite, bold, quick to call out our parents if she sensed injustice. I, however, preferred keeping the peace, believing that's what a dutiful son does. Our parents weren't terrible in the usual sense. They didn't mistreat or abandon us, but they had a self-absorbed outlook. Their wants always took priority, no matter the cost. If they desired something, it was justified. If they messed up, someone else was to blame. And if they acted selfishly, well, that wasn't selfishness, it was just what they were entitled to. My grandfather, my father's dad, was the opposite. A stern but just man, he valued diligence, accountability, and integrity above all. He didn't lecture, but when he spoke, you listened. He was also quite wealthy, a fact my parents never let slip their minds. For years, I thought I had a decent bond with my parents. I helped them out whenever they asked, expecting nothing in return, believing that's what families do. It started small, a bill here, a small loan there. They'd promised to repay, but never did. I let it slide, thinking it wasn't worth the fight. Then last year, they asked for $8,000, saying they urgently needed a used car. I hesitated but gave in when they swore they'd pay me back. When I asked for a repayment schedule, my mother laughed. "We're your parents, Michael. You owe us for everything we've done." So I handed over the money. They didn't repay a dime. Months later, they asked for another $5,000, vowing to return it within a month. Again, I caved. A month passed, then two, nothing. Then my grandfather called. "Michael," he said, his tone calm but sharp, "you know they spent your money on a vacation, don't you?" I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but he was serious. "They went to Florida for a week," he said. "Your dad bragged about it to me. They used your cash." I felt nauseous. I called my parents immediately. My mother answered, chipper as ever. "Hey, honey, how's work?" she chirped like nothing was amiss. "Did you use my money for a vacation?" I asked, my voice shaking with fury. After a brief pause, she sighed. "Oh, so Dad told you?" "Yes, we did. We needed a break, Michael. You're too obsessed with money." My father chuckled in the background. "Yeah, we knew you'd make a big deal out of it, so we didn't tell you." I was floored. "So when are you paying me back?" I pressed. My mother's tone turned patronizing. "Michael, we're your parents. We raised you, fed you, gave you everything. The least you can do is help us out." Something in me broke. I hung up without another word. I stopped visiting, stopped answering their calls, and cut off contact. I needed time to process how little they valued me beyond what I could provide. A few months later, my grandfather texted me. "Come to dinner this Saturday. Your dad got a promotion. They're celebrating." I was stunned, not by the promotion. I knew my dad was a master at office games, but because my grandfather invited me. My parents wouldn't have. "Are you sure?" I texted back. "Just come," he replied. I didn't know his plan, but I was going, and I wasn't staying silent. That Saturday, I drove to my parents' house, a mix of anger and curiosity swirling inside me. I hadn't spoken to them in months, and they clearly didn't expect me. I could hear their voices as I approached, my father's laugh, my mother's chatter. The house was packed, my uncle, cousins, some family friends, and my grandfather at the head of the table. When I walked in, the room went quiet. My mother forced a smile. "Michael, what a surprise," she said, her voice laced with false warmth. My father barely glanced at me, muttering, "Didn't think you'd show." I smiled back. "Yeah, Grandpa invited me." My mother's face twitched before she recovered, turning away with a mumble. My father just sighed and sipped his drink. The tension was palpable. Some relatives offered awkward nods, unsure of the situation. I sat down and bided my time. Let them enjoy their little celebration. Let them think I was there to mend fences. When dinner was served and everyone settled, I leaned back and said, loud enough for all to hear, "Guess paying me back won't be an issue now, right?" The table froze. My mother nearly choked on her wine. My father's fork hit his plate with a clatter. "What's that supposed to mean?" he growled. I shrugged. "You got a big promotion, so no more excuses, right?" My mother scoffed. "Don't start this again." "Start what?" I said. You took $13,000 from me, lied about it, spent it on yourselves, and I'm just asking when I'll see it back. That's fair, isn't it? Silence. My uncle looked like he wanted to vanish. A cousin bit back a grin. You ungrateful, my father began, but my grandfather cut him off. You'll pay him back, he said, his voice quiet but unyielding. My parents stared, shocked. My mother forced a laugh. Dad, really? We're his parents. This is absurd. My grandfather didn't flinch. No, what's absurd is taking money from your son and lying about it. Pay him back or there'll be consequences. My father rolled his eyes. Oh, what are you gonna do? My grandfather leaned back, arms crossed. I'll change my will. The room's atmosphere shifted. My parents froze. My grandfather wasn't just well off, he was wealthy. They'd been banking on his inheritance for years, their safety net. Now in front of everyone, he'd threatened to pull it. My mother paled. Dad, you don't mean that? My grandfather said nothing, just stared. For a moment, I thought they'd see reason, but my father scoffed. Fine, give it all to Michael, see if I care. My mother nodded, regaining her composure. Exactly, we don't need your money, Dad. Unlike some people, we're not fixated on every penny. I laughed. Right, that's why you took my money for your vacation. That was it. My father slammed his fist on the table. Get out, now. Happily, I said, standing. But just so you know, you're not getting another cent from me. My mother rolled her eyes. Oh, please, you always say that. My grandfather stood. Michael, I'll walk you out. I left, stepping into the cool night air, shaking my head. They had no idea what was coming, and they'd regret it all. The next morning, I felt lighter than I had in ages. I was done being their cash machine, done with their manipulation, done with their games. I wouldn't chase them for the money or argue anymore. I was cutting them off for good. But there was one last thing, the car, the one they'd bought with my $8,000. I was sipping coffee when my grandfather called. Michael, he said, calm as always, still want your money back? Yes, I said, rubbing my forehead, but they'll never pay willingly, he chuckled. Then we'll get creative, I frowned. What do you mean? Leave it to me, he said. 2 days later, he texted, come over this afternoon. When I pulled up to his house, I nearly laughed. There in his driveway was the car, the exact one my parents bought with my money. I turned to him, stunned. How'd you get it? He grinned. Took the keys when your mom wasn't paying attention. I blinked. You just took them. Well, he said, smug, she shouldn't leave them lying around if she doesn't want them taken. I burst out laughing. My 78-year-old grandfather had pulled off the sneakiest heist I'd ever seen. Then I got serious. They're going to lose it. Let them, he said. It's not their car, it's yours. He was right. The car was in my dad's name, but my money paid for it. Thanks to Grandpa, it was mine now. Sure enough, my mom called the next morning, furious. Michael, where's the car? She shrieked. I stayed calm. You mean my car? The one you bought with my money? Don't play games, she snapped. That's your father's car. Then he can buy it back, I said. Silence. My father got on the line, voice low and angry. You stole our car. I nearly laughed at the hypocrisy. So it's stealing when I take what was bought with my money? Interesting. We're calling a lawyer, he growled. Go ahead, I said, but you might want to talk to Grandpa first. An hour later, Grandpa called, sounding amused. Your parents are livid. They even contacted a lawyer, but I reminded them of something. What? I asked. I told them if they take you to court, I'll cut them out of my will entirely. I grinned. And suddenly they wanted to settle privately. We agreed I'd sell the car back for $6,000, not the full amount, but better than nothing. My dad reluctantly met me at the DMV to re-register it in my name. His face was a picture of defeat as he signed the papers, knowing Grandpa's threat loomed. When my mom handed me the check, she looked ill. Happy now? She spat. I pocketed it and smiled. Very. Pleasure doing business. I thought that was the end, but my parents' pettiness knew no bounds. They started slandering me to the family, painting me as the greedy villain who'd wronged them over money. Most relatives knew the truth, but avoided confronting them. Then one morning, my mom texted, "Someone vandalized our house." My cousin Jake sent a photo of their front door, spray-painted with "Fool" in bold red letters. I laughed when I learned Grandpa was behind it. He'd gotten up at 4 a.m., driven to their house, and tagged the door to make a point. My parents tried to get neighbors' security footage, but no one helped. They filed a complaint with the HOA, only to be fined for an unsightly exterior. They repainted the door, but my dad's sloppy job left "Fool" faintly visible. In the end, I got my money, cut contact with my parents, and walked away with a story I'll never forget. My grandfather, the true hero, ensured they faced the consequences. I'd love to hear what you'd have done in my shoes. Would you have let it go, or taken action like I did?